Today, my lecture topic is about pterygium and its management. So, what do we mean by pterygium? The pterygium word is derived from the pterygion, means wing. It is a non-malignant, slow-growing proliferation of the wing-shaped fibrovascular tissue. Why we call it a pterygium? Because this is a fibrovascular connective tissue outgrowth from the conjunctiva to the cornea in a triangular pattern which is like a wing. Now, it arises from the subconjunctival tissue, may extend over the cornea and thus disturbing the vision. It can also be a cosmetic problem for a female patient, but it is also a vision deterioration process in which it invade the cornea and involve the pupillary area and cause mechanical obstruction for the vision. Now, it is a degenerative condition of the conjunctiva, which is a triangular fibrovascular connective tissue outgrowth in the interpalpebral region. After the definition, this is a picture of a pterygium, so you can see that it is present in interpalpebral region. From the medial side, it is coming towards the cornea from the conjunctiva to the cornea. Above the pterygium, there is an intact epithelium is present. After that, what are the epidemiology of an pterygium? So it is more common in warm and dry climate. Direct relation with the amount of ultraviolet rays exposure. The person who is working in a hot and dry climate and it is continuously exposing the sunlight, he is taking the exposure from the sunlight, so this person having the chance of growing pterygium very quickly. Morbidity causes significant alteration in visual function in advanced cases, as I told before, and 20 to 40 years the incidence of pterygium is 20 to 40 years. After that, the etiopathogenesis is that whenever the ultraviolet rays exposure occur, it induces the hyperplasia in the limbal cells. What are the limbal cells? The limbus is a junction between the cornea and the conjunctiva. There is an hyperplasia of the limbal cells occur in the limbus. The altered cells invade the cornea and limbus, which move centripetally with them. So what happens whenever there is an hyperplasia of the limbal cell occur? So these hyperplastic limbal cell will move centripetally with the cornea. This explains wing shape of the pterygium. Now, one more thing, there is an etiopathogenesis. Exposure of the ultraviolet altered flame, injury and susceptibility. Now you can see that whenever there is an exposure of the ultraviolet rays occur, so there is a damage to the tear film. After the damage to the tear film, there are the cells of the conjunctiva which are damaged by the ultraviolet rays. So loss of collagenase and the dehydration occur, accumulation of the extracellular matrix there occur, and the antigenic type 1 fibroblastic reaction will occur and it lead to the pterygium. So this is an eye and this is the cornea. So there is an whole conjunctiva is present over the sclera, over the white part of the eye. Now, whenever there is a damage to the conjunctiva occurs, so these types of fibrovascular connective tissue will occur in the triangular fashion, and this triangular fashion will grow towards the cornea and lead to the formation of the pterygium. After that, there is a pathology what occur in the conjunctiva, so it lead to the formation of the pterygium. So there is a elastotic degeneration of the collagen. It is not a true elastic tissue, but there is an elastotic degeneration of the collagen, fibrovascular proliferation with overlying covering of an epithelium. There is a fibrovascular proliferation because there are the vessels and there is a connective tissue of fibrovascular connective tissue. After that, there is a cellular proliferation occur, there is a tissue remodeling, there is a new vascularization, and there is a subepithelial tissue show basophilic degeneration. So all of this thing will lead to the formation of the pterygium, and after that, destruction of the Bowman membrane in the cornea. So there is a residual corneal scarring and these growth are removed. So we have, whenever this growth will appear, they are present on the 2 millimeter or below the 2 millimeter of the involved cornea. So as much as possible we have to remove this growth very early, because when we don't remove this growth early, so what happened then, these type of fibrovascular connective tissue will also damage the Bowman's membrane and the superficial stroma. And when there is a damage to the Bowman's membrane and the superficial stroma, so there is a corneal opacity will remain in the eye after the removal of the pterygium. So as much as possible, so we have to treat this early, so there is no chance, or there is a less chance of appearing the corneal opacity in the cornea. Now epithelium shows secondary changes like orthokeratosis, enkethosis and dyskeratosis. Mast cells occur in increased number. Now after that, there is a picture of there is a diagrammatic view of the ultraviolet rays, how ultraviolet rays damage the conjunctiva. So there is an ultraviolet rays, oxidative stress plus EGF receptor activation, and there is a DNA damage. After that, it releases the cytokines cause inflammation, and the inflammation, this inflammation lead to the extracellular remodeling, and there is an mononuclear phagocytosis, there is a cell migration, invasion occur, and there is a fibrosis, because these all play important role in the fibrosis, chronic inflammation. There is a growth factor release, there is a proliferation, angiogenesis means formation of a new blood vessels also occur in this process, and after that there is an hyperplasia of the conjunctival cell lead to the pterygium. This whole is a process of the pterygium. After that, there is a types of pterygium. There are the three types of pterygiums present. One is a progressive pterygium. Progressive pterygium means that it is a thick fleshy and vascular with infiltration at the anterior edge called gap. So when we see in the slit lamp, so we see that there is an infiltration of the vascular infiltration. There is a very thick pterygium, and there is a very highly vascular pterygium is present, so it is called as a progressive pterygium. After that, there is an stationary pterygium. Stationary pterygium means that it does not grow further, it remain in the normal position, it remain in the eye, it remain in the at the same place where it has been grown, so it is known as a stationary pterygium. And after that, there is a regressive pterygium. Regressive pterygium means it is a thin, atrophic with very little vascularity. So we have a clear view in the slit lamp, so we can tell that there is a less vascularity, so it means atrophic. There is a highly vascular structure with a very thick connective tissue, so it means it is a progressive pterygium. After that, there are the stages of the pterygium. We have talked about the types of the pterygium. Now it is a stage of the pterygium. So stage 1, whenever there is an invasion of the fibrovascular connective tissue occur, so first of all, it involves only less than 2 millimeter of the cornea, and it is usually asymptomatic, and it is only for the cosmetic purpose. So it has to be removed for the only cosmetic process. It does not involve any visual deterioration in the eye. After that, there is a stage 2. What do you mean by stage 2? Stage 2 means that it extends up to 4 millimeter of the cornea and disrupt the precorneal tear film and cause astigmatism. Now, when the 4 millimeter cornea is involved, so what happened? The pterygium is a thick fibrovascular connective tissue, so it presses the cornea, and whenever it presses the cornea, so the cornea is having the different what we can say that vertical and horizontal meridians are present. So these vertical and horizontal meridians will disturb and lead to the astigmatism, and the astigmatism is too high, so it is very problematic condition for a patient that he is having the astigmatism. After that, there is a stage 3. In the stage 3, what happened, that it extend up to more than 4 millimeter and involve the whole visual axis, because there is a pupillary area after the 4 millimeter of the cornea, and what it involves, so it involves the visual axis of the pupillary axis, and it involves the pupillary axis, so it obstruct the vision and cause deterioration of the vision. After that, it is a very common question that why pterygium commonly occur on nasal side. The pterygium occur commonly on the nasal side, there are many factors which favor the formation of the pterygium on the nasal side. Light passes through the cornea medially, concentrating on the nasal limbus region, while the nose shadow decreases the strength of light transmitted to the temporal limbus. So there are the temporal and the nasal region in the eye. So eye directly exposed to the nasal side, but due to the nose, this light is the nose is producing a shadow for the light, so this light cannot directly to expose the temporal side of the conjunctiva or the limbus, so it prevent the formation of the pterygium on the temporal side. After that there is an longer temporal upper lid eyelashes towards and outer towards bowing of the lashes, filtering light falling on the temporal conjunctiva and the cornea. So after that there is the natural flow of the tear is from the temporal to the nasal side towards the punctum, and any amount of dust it reaches the conjunctival sac irritate the nasal conjunctiva further. So natural flow of the tear from the temporal to the nasal side, and there is a punctum on the nasal side of the conjunctiva. So any amount of dust which is present, so it will remain in the nasal side, so it also irritate the conjunctiva on the nasal side and lead to the formation of the nasal pterygium. After that there is a part of the pterygium. There are three parts of the pterygium. One is a cap, which is a avascular halo-like zone, a head and the body. This is a whole structure of the pterygium. There is a head, there is a neck in the limbal region, there is a what we can say that there is an body. Between the limbus and the canthus and the cap is a avascular halo-like zone. After the clinical feature, it is more common on the nasal side, as I have told you before. It appears as a fibrovascular growth in triangular fashion at the limbus with apex towards the cornea. There is a Stocker line. What is the Stocker line? The Stocker line is an iron deposition of the cap. And whenever there is an iron deposition within the pterygium, so it leads to the formation of the Stocker line, which is near the cornea. Linear epithelial iron deposition, which is known as a Stocker line. Deterioration of the vision is due to astigmatism, and after that there is a mechanical obstruction. Treatment non-surgically, what is not, there is no any non-surgical treatment, but we have to decrease the progression of the pterygium, so we use the non-surgical treatment like tear film substitute, because there is a damage to the tear film, so we want tear substitute like many drugs which are hydroxypolymethyl cellulose, propylene glycol. These are all tear substitute which we can give to the patient because there is an instability of the tear film. After that we can give steroid, because the steroid decrease the inflammation, so it also regress the pterygium but does not remove the pterygium. We have to remove the pterygium through surgical means. After that we have to give the sunglasses, because the ultraviolet rays damage the conjunctiva, so we have to prevent the eye from the ultraviolet rays. After that there is a surgical. What is the surgical method for the pterygium? So there is a simple excision and there is a simply conjunctival flap. What we do in the simple excision, we do that whenever there is a surgery occur, so we remove the pterygium part and remain the bare sclera as open as it is, but it having the chance of the recurrence. So what we do that we produce a conjunctival flap at the area where there is a bare sclera, so it prevent the recurrence of the pterygium. So there is a next method which is known as a simple conjunctival flap method. We do the excision of the pterygium and we put the conjunctival flap from other side of the sclera. We took the conjunctiva from that and we put the conjunctival flap over the bare area of the sclera at which the pterygium is present. After that post-operative complication, there is a recurrence of the pterygium and there is a pyogenic granuloma. If the bacterial infection occurs, so it leads to the formation of the granuloma. Prevention of the recurrence, so we give the conjunctival autograft. As I told, conjunctival autograft we can do, and also we can do amniotic membrane transplantation. We can also do mitomycin B. Mitomycin B is used to treat the recurrences of the pterygium because it decrease the formation of the cells over there. After this we can give the radiations to the person at the side, and we also do the organ laser. So these all is about the pterygium. Thank you.